Hello and welcome. Queen City Psychic Medium here, doing business as Cincy Psychic LLC. And this video, I am going to discuss guides and how to connect with your guides, get their names, feel their vibration, and get validation for that. But first, I want to go over something very quickly here. I am doing several videos on my spaceship, starship, ET, spiritual being memories, and interaction. And I have to break it up into several videos because it would just be so long if I did not do it that way. And I'm bringing this up now because this is important to help you connect with your guides. Diana, the spaceship lady, okay, goddess is what she said that she was, that I met when I was 3.5 years old. And they showed me the future and all that, which I have several different videos. Anyway, she held up one of these because I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do all this? How am I going to remember to do everything that you're asking me to do? And she said, get as many of these as I could, that they would help them communicate with me. And she told me the name, and I couldn't remember the name. And I was 25 years old when I had my full-blown spaceship memory. And but it's quartz crystal. And this one right here is about exactly the same size and shape that she did hold up, to let you know. You don't need one that big, but I'm just saying that's what she held up. And just so y'all know, quartz crystal, it is an energy conductor, okay? It's in watches, TVs, computers, electronics. So it is a conductor, so just to let you know that. Okay, so let's move along on to guides here. Okay, so you want to connect with your guides. Everybody wants to. I am going to tell you, I have found years ago that your main number one guide is actually yourself. Okay, it's your higher self. So becoming one, always and forever with your higher self is very, very important. What I do is I ask pretty much every day to be one with my higher self, always and forever, with my third eye and my third ear completely open. Okay, and when I want to connect with a spirit, I ask to be one with spirit with my third eye and third ear completely open. Excuse me, I need a drink of water here. All right, and then we're going to roll into the guides and how I discovered my guides. Now, when I was a child, my mother would tell you, and I do also remember some of it, I would carry on conversations with people that they could not see. As a matter of fact, we moved every 6 months or sooner until I was about 4 years old. Well, about 3.5, 4 years old. And yeah, it was 4 when they realized that the houses weren't haunted, okay, that I was a psychic medium. All right. So my first guide would come with my doll, okay? There was a doll out in the late 60s named Francine. And I remember my little Francine. She was kind of like Barbie, a little bit bigger. And she had dark hair, okay? And I love this doll. And she would talk to me, okay? And so that was my first guide. And then I'm going to jump ahead to the future here, because it would be years later in my 40s when my grandmother would loan me a Sylvia Browne book. And I never read any of her books, but I did read this one. It's the only one that I read. And wow, I see that she had a guide named Francine as well from the doll. And so I said, I don't get it. Maybe, do we have the same guide? And then it would be years later, because I don't question things too heavy, man. I just let go, let goddess, let God, let spirit. Okay, so it would be not too long later that it would come in and it would be explained to me by Francine that there's actually several, I don't know how many, psychic mediums that she guides. Okay, so it's not, she's not just assigned to one psychic medium, and I'm sure you have to be a very gifted psychic medium for Francine to be your guide. Okay, so that's Francine. When I was like about 6, I'd be scared to death at night, trying to fall asleep. So I had, and I'm sharing this too because it can help children that have psychic mediumship abilities as well, because it did help me. I had 2 dolls. They were about as big as me. One was Bozo the Clown, and he was about almost as tall as me. And the other one was a human-sized Easter Bunny. And I would ask them to protect me at night, and they would sleep one on each side of me. Okay? And they did not have names or any of that stuff. Then next would be my invisible friend, and he was tiny. And I would carry him in my pocket at school, and I actually created him. And yes, I am saying that I created him, welcomed him, invited him. It was me and another little girl that we decided that we wanted little invisible friends to talk to. And so and his name was Tom. And yeah, that's not very original because there was a little tiny Tom Thumb. And I didn't really want to name him that, but I kept getting, no, name me Tom, name me Tom. So I did. Okay, and funny, hers was named Tom as well. We did it separately. We chose the names separately, and then got together at lunch, and we both had a little tiny guide friend that was named Tom. Okay, so my early 30s, let's jump to that, because that would be when I decided I was going to open up, and that's because I had a child that I saw also had abilities, and I said, whoa, he's got it too. I'm going to have to let go, open up, and not have any fear for what I have. And I also did not know in my 30s what mediumship was. Okay, nobody ever explained that to me, okay? So, and this is before the internet, by the way, just to let you know. Okay, so my early 30s, when I started opening up and I didn't know how to meditate, I did a little meditation on my couch. It was Thanksgiving Day. And I was waiting for my husband to finish getting ready so we could go to my mother's for Thanksgiving. And then I did my little meditation. And, I got up, walked to the bedroom, walked back out. I'm down this little narrow hallway going back to the living room. Actually, I had made it into the living room. And I felt what I thought was my husband, because you can never hear him walk. You still can't. My husband, he is very, very quiet. You cannot hear him walk in the room majority of the time. I'm not the only one that will tell you that. Anyway, so I thought my husband came up behind me because I felt his arms go around me and hug me. And I turned to go, oh, because I thought it was so sweet. And nobody was there. But in my mind's eye, I saw this big Indian dude. Okay. And I was like, wow. And I wasn't scared. And I sat back down and I thought, man, what an experience. Okay. And I was very grateful for it. Okay. All right. So that was that. And I was busy being a mom, raising a young, a toddler. Okay. So, and I dabbled here and there with psychic stuff and would have, different things happen. When you're a psychic medium, are just intuitive. When you're human, you may go through gushes and periods throughout your life where, boom, I'm having psychic gushes, for months or whatever, little things. So that can happen. So anyway, all right, fast forward to the 40s, where I said, hey, I want to meet my guides. And I did get involved with a spiritualist church because I had a career selling real estate, and real estate crashed. I was getting tired of it. This was right before it crashed. It was starting to crash. And I went from realtor to working for a builder, just sitting in that model home at that time. Okay. And I got involved with a spiritualist church. And when you do that, they have politics just like, any other group. Okay. And I don't dig politics. I'm going to tell you that. Because I don't there's nothing, any book that I've ever read where I said, wow, I agree with 100% of what you just said. I have total discernment, lots of books, most of them, I might take one thing away from that book, and that's cool enough for me because I got one thing. All right. And I'm grateful for that. But anyway, okay. So the spiritualist church will teach you that you have 5 guides. Okay. And I didn't write them down because the videos I do are pretty much improv. I will make my notes, but it's improv and not not edited. All right. So, what do you got there? You got your doctor teacher, your joy guide, your master guide, your chemist guide. There's 5 and I'm leaving 1 out. Okay. It doesn't really matter. I don't like labels. Okay. And I really got involved to see if I could actually do readings so that I could I just wanted to practice. All right. With strangers, but without just like advertising and meeting strangers. So it was a safe place to practice. So keep that in mind, y'all. Okay. If you want to get some practice, you can do that. Okay. All right. So, before that, let me back up. Okay. Because it was right before that. I started meditating. I said, hey, I'm going to meditate religiously. It was November 2006. So it was the winter of 06, 07. I don't know if it was the end of 06. I think it was January of 07. It doesn't really matter. And I sat back to meditate, and I was getting pretty good at it because it had been a couple months. And I learned to meditate lying down, and my videos go over that, my meditation video, because, when you have that mind chatter and you have anxiety, it's better to do meditation lying down to learn it that way. Now I don't do that at all, unless I want like a heavy duty one. Okay, so I'm lying there in my bedroom, and I hear a bird as plain as day, flapping like 4 or 5 flaps, okay, right next to my head in my right ear. And I said, my eyes were closed, and I said, what? Okay, and I open my eyes and I look over very slowly because it freaks me out. Because birds have always tripped me out, and I do have a lot of experiences with birds, by the way. Okay, so I look over, and there's nothing there. And I said, I just heard a bird flapping, man. Am I so in tune right now that I'm hearing it in the attic or whatever? So anyway, I had to get up. It was dead winter, so all the windows were closed. Nobody was here but my dog. He was on the first floor. I checked the house, first and second floor. Nothing's there. And I say, okay. So I lay back down to go back into my meditation, and wow, my bedroom door creaks open. I hear my door creaking open. And so I sat up, of course, and I couldn't believe it because I wasn't scared. I wasn't shocked. I could not believe how calm I was because I sat up and I looked over to my left, and there was a woman standing there. And the door was now full open, okay? And she was in full color. She had long blonde hair. It was a little wavy. I don't remember what color her eyes were, but I believe they were brown. She had a long gown on. It was like an off-white color. I don't believe it was solid white. I wasn't trying to pay attention to any of these details. I was just amazed that I was seeing this. Flesh, blood, solvent looking human being, okay? There was light that came down on her head through the ceiling, all right? And it was just the full head, all right? So it wasn't like a little beam. It was just this beam of light that came down on her head. And she was standing there like this. Whoops. Like this. And actually, she looked like this. Okay? Very serious. And I said, who are you? And she said, Sarah. Okay, so that's my guide named Sarah. And at the same time, I'm seeing her in full color. And behind her, I'm seeing like 15, 20 people. And they were all grainy. You know, like when the TV would go out of focus. You know, back in the day, and it would just be when it was off the air, and it was that grayish, bluish, grain stuff happening. So it was like a grayish, a bluish, like 15, 20 people. And when I asked her, who are you? Everybody was standing still, all the grainy people, they were all standing still. It was like she was keeping them back, all right? And one dude was pacing. And when I asked, who are you? He goes, Chuck Charles. Like it was a struggle to say it. Okay. And he had brown hair. It was a little long. His bangs were a little long. It was part on the side, or I believe not exactly the middle. And then it was shorter through here and a little bit longer through here. And he wasn't that old. He looked like he was probably in his 50s, possibly 40s. I don't know. So anyway, just to share, I'm saying that because I'm actually waiting for somebody to come around who understands this Chuck Charles, who obviously became aware that I'm a medium and was there trying to get attention so that he can get a message to his family. So anyway, that was Sarah. And it just totally blew my mind. And at that time, I was testing with the International School of Mediumship and Psychic Development. And so I let the instructor know what happened to me. And she told me that's a gatekeeper. And had I known as a child that I could ask for a gatekeeper, oh my God, to hold dead people back so they wouldn't bother me, especially when I was 15, which was the last time that I saw a solvent person, and that was just a head, and he didn't have any body, and that freaked me out. I screamed like you wouldn't believe and ran out of the room. Okay, but if I would have known that I could get a gatekeeper, I'd have asked for that a long time ago, and I am so grateful, Sarah, that you came. Thank you. Okay, so then my next one, I would be involved with the spiritualist school classes, and the dude that ran it, and he's dead now, he held them at his house, and so we would be wanting, let me back up. Sorry. The next one would be still with the International School of Mediumship, and that would be when I was testing and I was reading pictures of people that were given to me on my own time as I sat in the model home when I was a representative for the builder, and it was totally dead and there was nothing to do because real estate's crashing, nobody was coming around. So I practiced some psychic medium stuff, okay? So I was reading someone, and it comes in very vivid. I start getting scenes, okay? And on the desk, when I opened my eyes, I saw, and he was about, I'm going to say he was about 12 inches tall. He wasn't standing on the desk. He was like above it. And there was a little tiny brown dude. Okay. And he had a staff, very thin, very thin. And he had a staff, and his face was kind of like those, I think they're tiki masks. I'm not sure. Okay. And he was very tribal, and he had brown eyes. And I do want to say about the guides that I have seen and the main lady on the spaceship, their eyes are very similar to mine. They look a lot like mine. Okay, so I find that interesting. Okay, all right, so that tripped me out. It startled me when that happened, and I gasped, and he disappeared, because that's what happens. Because the energy, the frequency, and the vibration were right. And I was in that grounded center calm now that he appeared. And when I freaked out, he disappeared, because that's what happens. Okay, so it's not that he disappeared, it's that I lost the connection of me being able to see him. Okay, so then later when I'm wanting, so I am going to back up with this too and go in the past. A lady named Dottie Asylum, and she would do the psychic fairs in Columbus all the time. She was not a psychic, but she was born seeing auras, and she was amazing. And she used to work with doctors in New York to help people with their health problems. And when I met her in the mid-90s, and I walked in the room, and I was wearing jeans, so there was no way she could see through my jeans. And she said, "They did a great job on your leg." And I was like, wow, because my leg was broken in 5 places, and she saw the scarring in my aura. And then when I had my reading with her, like 5 minutes later, she saw brown man. She saw my brown man, little tribal dude with the staff, and described him to the T. And I didn't really take her serious. I didn't. But anyways, and I had totally forgotten about that. Okay, when I did see brown man, so I did want to share that. So that was validation. Okay. So then when I'm at this dude's house that's teaching classes, and this is about how to get connected with your guides, I hear Great Hawk. So I share with everyone in the room, my protection guide is Great Hawk. Okay, so that's over, and when I go to leave and I get in my car, I hear, it's not Great Hawk, Melissa. It's Gray Hawk. And I said, okay. And I would pick Great Hawk if I were choosing the name. My ego would. But only when you do this work, you can't have ego. Okay. So I knew when they said, when I heard a voice in my ear, it's Gray Hawk, that it was Gray Hawk. And that's the Native American that came up and hugged me when I was in my 30s on Thanksgiving Day. Okay. He was letting me know he was there. Okay. So, and I did already share that it was Francine, the guide from the doll, did confirm about that there's one guide that can take care of several people. Okay, they're very tapped into the muse. I will tell you that. Okay, so then I'm wanting to know guides, and I hear Tesla. And I said, that's the name of a band, a pretty awesome band from the 80s, and an inventor. Tesla, huh? Because I question everything I do. And I say, okay. So then, like the night later, 1 or 2 nights later, it was very shortly after this, I can't sleep, so I sit up about 2 a.m., and I go downstairs and I get something to drink and something to snack on, and I turn on the TV, and nothing's on, and I don't really like TV anyway. And there was this movie called The Bermuda Triangle. And I said, well, hey, that's cool. That's an interest. It's probably a B movie. Let me turn it on. And it was a B movie. And I said, well, there's nothing else to do. So while I'm snacking here, I will watch the movie. And I did. And the movie had just started. And they pulled away on their boat. And guess what the name of the boat was? Tesla. Right there on the boat, it said Tesla. And that was my confirmation. Okay. And guess what? I was excited after that, but I was able to go ahead and fall asleep after that. But I said, thank you. Okay. And I appreciate the communication and confirmation. All right. Jillian. So I want to know who my chemist guide is. Okay. And it's, I hear Jillian. I'm like, okay, is that a man's name? Is that a woman's name? And I just let it go. And guess what? It was the next day when I woke up and checked my emails. One of the emails, the subject was Jillian. And it was a funny email about a monkey. One of the shows where they were kissing people blindfolded, and one of them was a monkey. But anyway, the subject was Jillian, and I knew that was a confirmation. Now, some of you may say, I don't know, man, maybe something weird is messing with her, and they know because they can see the future. I'm going to tell you what, I'm pretty powerful. I don't worry about evil. I don't worry about demons because they feed on fear, and that's it. And when you don't fear them, they don't have any power over you at all. Very, very similar to the talking head puppets on the television. What's all that all the time on your world nightly news? Fear, 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 right? Okay, they want you to fear. They feed on fear. Very demonic, let me tell you. Okay, so there's stuff going on there that I don't know if some of you sleepwalkers are even aware of, okay? All right, so anyway, last but not least, Dr. Burke, okay? My white-haired Dr. Burke. Now I'm going to talk about him. Well, I do talk about him in my video, my spaceship, starship, ET video, because we discuss all this stuff in the future. And the first flash I ever had of him was when I was 7 years old. And I asked my mother, who was that white-haired doctor, and she didn't know what I was talking about. And then again, he started flashing when I was in my my early 20s. And he is the one in my memory form. See, I have memory form visions where I remember discussing it. We already discussed it. Okay, and then it happens. All right. So that's Dr. Burke, and I can't really tell you too much about him, other than I know what's going to happen because I remember discussing it with the dude. And the having psychic abilities and memory forms actually a Native American thing, and I am Native American. I actually do belong to a tribe. My Cherokee name is Fire Starting, okay, because Fire Starter does not translate into Cherokee. So I went with Fire Starting, and I actually like that name better, so it's all cool. Alrighty. Family members can be your guides, your loved ones in spirit, ones that you have never met because they passed on before you were born, and the ones that loved you so much, like your grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, okay? And like my maternal grandmother, she popped in and stayed with me all the time for years. And then she took a little break after my mother died because I guess they had to, have a reunion. And my paternal grandmother is around all the time. And they actually tell me things. My maternal grandmother would tell me before somebody was going to die unexpectedly in the family. And I have proven that over and over again with family members. Okay, so your guides. All right. So what you need to do, okay, is you need to start meditating. Don't force it, okay? When you meditate, you just want to ask, I'd like to get acquainted with my guides. I'd like to know the name of my guides, all right? And you will get it. You will get it. So when you meditate, it doesn't matter what you're asking for. Don't overdo it. That's what people do. You do so much that you lock it up, okay? Just ask and you shall receive. Keep it smooth. Let it flow, okay? Let it go, all right? And you will get the information, okay? And you will get validation. And you're going to have to meditate to do that. And I think I've done some pretty good meditation, a meditation video that will help you. And stuff that I paid for to learn, I am sharing with you guys for free because I think it should be that way. It really should. And I think we all should learn how to meditate in high school. The world would be a much better, calmer place. So I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please like, please share, and please subscribe. And I wish you all unconditional love, pure radiant light, rainbow rays of chakra light, and peace. Okay, until next time, peace out.